Why are you still hung up about stuff that happened 6 years ago?
Well, it's not that I'm hung up about it. It's just I don't want this to be repeated because of Night Die and Kichi. I mean, I feel like they still hate me for it. I mean, I don't know if they hate me or not, or because. Sorry, what?
Does it matter if they do?
I know it shouldn't, but if they're in the same chat with me, then I am gonna want to try to apologize to them, and I think it's gonna be very awkward that they're in the same call.
Oh.
Or in the same room, you know what I mean. I'm not good at talking verbally as I am on...
Frankly, I don't think you're really good at either of them, but let's go ahead and get to the point here. You are in the Senate. The Senate is not your typical Discord room. We're certainly not anything as cringy as a Secret Rift. We're not Limbo. We have better management than that. Senate's a place where if you got a problem with somebody, you get called, you deal it out. Now, you could apologize to Night Die. You could apologize to Kichi, and they'd tell you to piss off and go jump off a bridge. At that point, you probably shouldn't talk to them. Now, have they told you in the past to never talk to them again? Yes or no?
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry about that. I thought that regular table thing was a text chat. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's try this again. Where did I cut off?
They tell me to screw off.
They tell you to piss off. By the way, piss is in the Bible. It's fine to say. If they tell you to piss off, you piss off. You don't try to harass them more. You don't try to get their attention more. Now, did they tell you previously to never speak to them again?
I feel like they made that very clear when they blocked me.
I see. Oh, you could always take a shot at it. They tell you to piss off, then you piss off. Pat Night I'd probably just tear into you and call and be done with it. Seems to be less concerned with random brony drama at this point. Kichi probably won't even recognize you, to be completely honest with you, because Kichi has a life. Doesn't concern herself so much with brony nonsense anymore because she grew up. You, on the other hand, seem to not have. You seem to still be concerned with the same dramas from literally 2016. Now you're in here because you felt entitled, because that's what this was, you felt entitled to misanthropony. And from what he tells me, one of your main conflicts is you don't like how he talks to people on the internet. Is that accurate?
Yes.
What's your issue with him and how he talks to people on the internet?
Well, how do I say this? Well, it's just that, my issue is that, I feel like Chris isn't treating people the way that, in the Bible it says, do unto others as you would have done unto you. It's the golden rule. Jesus said himself. And so...
Yes, the Bible also says that a fool chastises and freaks out about being corrected. There's a wise man accepts rebuke gladly. If you're going by the value of treat others as you'd have them treated, you'd have to determine whether or not Chris, Misanthropony, Zaid, Magenta, likes somebody telling him when he screws up, when he does something dumb. You figured that out yet first, or did you just get mad because somebody got angry on the internet?
But here's another thing, Leo. It's that... I mean, I understand... I'm not going to bring up one thing, but another thing is that it's over a movie.
And?
I mean, you can say whatever the heck you want about the sequel trilogy. In fact, I do have some issues with Obi-Wan Kenobi and the miniseries. I mean, I like it, but I understand that people are not going to like it. But, I mean, to me, it feels morally wrong to be maybe I'm over-exaggerating a bit, but it just feels morally wrong to be treating people horribly because that they like or think that a movie is good.
You say treating people horribly. Does Chris take their lunch money? Does he bind them into slavery? Does he burn down their houses?
No, he's not Adolf Hitler, and he's not a Nazi.
I don't know if that's anything Nazis did. I'm not recalling them taking somebody's lunch money. You need to calm down a little bit first and foremost.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Saying a few mean words to somebody isn't treating them terribly. It's just having a spat with somebody. It's not the same thing. Treating somebody poorly is long and ongoing. If I treat my cat poorly, not feeding it by neglecting it, that is treating it poorly. Me dealing with a cat on the side of the road that bites my ankle and I shake it off and it winds up hitting the ground a little hard but continues along just fine isn't the same as me treating that cat horribly. More often than not, Chris has these encounters with people, it's a one-off, and he goes about his business, and 9 times out of 10, they freak out and obsess over him. How is he treating people horribly by telling him he thinks they're dumb and that they're wrong? How's that being treated horribly, exactly?
Well, it just feels... I know it's going to be sounding very childish when I say this, okay? But just bear with me when I say this. It feels impolite. I've always been... Because I've been raised to be polite to people.
I was raised to be polite to people too, but I was also taught to have a plan to kill everybody in the room in case I need to. Are we basing this based on how we were individually raised, or are we basing this on some common sense idea of how people should be treated?
It's just common courtesy, I think.
Is it now? So, common courtesy isn't giving your opinion then. Common courtesy isn't saying you think somebody's wrong. Common courtesy isn't insulting somebody who has a brain-dead take. To you, common courtesy is nothing but polite, calm words that are just nothing but sweetness and nectar, yes?
Well, it's just Chris's behavior kind of reminds me of Applejack in one episode of MLP.
Let me stop you right there. I ain't doing no My Little Pony comparison. We live in the real world.
Just hear me out, please.
Son, I don't watch your horse show. So whatever you're about to say isn't going to make any lick of sense to me.
But I think it'll make sense to Map.
What the fuck?
I think...
Okay, what's with these nooses in the VC context?
Oh, that's because Sarah is cringing at the call in and of itself because she hates brony responses.
Please, you didn't have to do that to me, man. Fucking horse show. Out of all comparison.
So why is it any different because he's talking about movies?
Well, you see, something I did was I did a top 5 least favorite episodes of season 7, and one thing I learned was that, well, opinions are subjective, not objective. And I talked about how Applejack was talking like her opinion was objective, and well, here's a better way to... in season 6, there's this episode where Rainbow Dash goes to a Daring Do convention, and she meets a fan of the Daring Do book series who's voiced by Patton Oswalt.
People are, and frankly,
Okay, I have something very important to say. You give one more, horse show example, I am going to ban you because you are driving me insane.
Let's try to avoid that. Let's try to avoid that. Instead, hold on, Jonathan. Don't get out much, do you, buddy?
My name is Jordan. Thank you.
It's 11 o'clock at night and I'm tired. Thank you. And you've been mispronouncing my name this whole time. So I do genuinely apologize, but you're talking to a 37-year-old man who is listening to a 28-year-old man try to relate moral values he learned from a literal children's cartoon. So if you'll have to forgive me if I'm a little short-fused right now, do you really want to go down this tack with me?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you again. You don't get out much.
All right. First of all, you're right. I don't get out that much. I'm only going out whenever I have to go to work. But here's the thing that I have learned from any fan base, whether Star Wars, MCU, or Warhammer. How about that?
Doesn't matter what fan base. Talking about morals here, yes?
Well, I feel like it should be morally right to agree to disagree.
Did Misanthropony hunt these people down and kill their families over their opinion on Star Wars?
No.
What has he done to so egregious? What, mean words?
When you put it like that, I feel like an idiot.
Well, why do you think you feel that way? Because here's the problem I'm having specifically with you on this. You tell me you're a Christian. You tell me you quote scripture. You tell me about the golden rule. But then you try to tell me your moral values come from a kid's cartoon. Your moral values come from that book. That's where mine come from. I'm older than you by almost an entire decade. Which means I was raised in literally the heyday of cartoons trying to import moral values to kids in a way better than your goofy little horse cartoon, first and foremost, because they were actually practical. And secondly, I didn't get my values from those cartoons. I got them in the book. Because the objectivity. Because if you are a Christian, you believe in morals, you believe the morals to be objective because they come from a higher power that understands reality differently than you and I do, because he is the controller of it. If you are trying to talk morals, it needs to come from the book. From whatever the goofy little colorful cartoon horse show, written by primarily atheists, teaches you. There's no wisdom there. No wisdom, you talk to God. See what's written in that book. You don't go to some silly little horse cartoon and try to get it from there. There's no common ground there. Do you really not understand that you at 28 years old should not be quoting a children's cartoon for morals?
I was not done.
By all means.
Well, I just think that anyone in any fandom should be able to get along, whether you have different opinions on something or not. Because here's something that I talked about on Discord, okay? So, I did talk to someone who was a fan of MAP, or maybe a friend, I don't know, and I told him that, honestly, I thought that Rey from the sequel trilogy was fine. I was indifferent about her, and I said that I thought that The Last Jedi was fine, but here's the thing. He said that I may like it, but that I was not a true Star Wars fan.
Hey, that's his opinion. Why do you care?
I know I'm taking this offensively, but...
Questions, why do you care?
You're right, I shouldn't.
Let me go ahead and...
I took it too personally. You're right. I did take it too personally.
Since you want to communicate in the language of fandom, very clear to you. My screen name is LousyLou Convoy. I'm a Thundercat historian. I know more about that cartoon than probably just about everybody except for maybe one human being on God's green earth that's currently alive. I have production material, I have model sheets, I have cells, and I have literal scripts from the show dating all the way back to 1984.
I do not care.
I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm done. Not done. I have had people try to tell me that I am not a true Thundercat fan because I do not praise plastic action figures. Do you think I lose sleep over it?
No.
Why?
Because the only one who can define if you're a true Thundercat fan is you. I realize that I'm the only one who can consider myself a true Star Wars fan.
More importantly, my value in myself does not come from whether or not I am recognized by the Thundercat fan collective. My value comes from God. Talk about fans and how we should get along and all that. There are absolutely fans that have opinions you wouldn't like that you god-awfully would not get along with. 6 years ago, you were 22. You're still at it. And do you really think getting angry and snippy with me is going to really improve your station here? Because I've been extremely polite to you. I don't have to be. You're not in a server ran by a bunch of weak-willed pussies like the majority of your community is. That is not where you are right now. I am being very kind to you.
It doesn't sound like you're being kind at all. And by the way, I did not ask to be brought into this call, okay?
Do you want me to show you what I'm like? Do you want me to show you what I'm like when I'm mean so you can understand the difference?
And he pushed out. That went well.
Ask him if he had.
Oh my god.
You all know what to do. Have you decided to stop acting up and actually talk?
Okay.
You know what? Let's see here. Who's in this call? Hold on a second. Who's in this call?
Look, Jordan, I did literally nothing. You have to stay in here and you have to listen to the advice that is being given to you. Please.
I am here, by the way, but I really don't appreciate how you're talking to me, Lio, or Leo, however you pronounce it.
Lio, and again, like I said before you ran out, if you want, I can show you how I sound when I'm actually angry so you can know the difference. I don't think you actually want that because this is me being nice to you. Is it that you don't like my tone? Do I sound a little bit too much like your father? Is that what this is?
I think you're asking way too many personal questions.
You know why I'm asking them? You think it's to embarrass you? Here's how this works. Like, by this time tomorrow...
Right now, I already feel embarrassed, as it is, right now. And I think I saw someone wanting to upload this on... Because I think someone said that they had OBS on already.
Okay, good for them. Here's the thing.
Well, they do not have my consent at all, okay? Because this is exactly what happened 6 years ago.
Attention? Would you stop freaking out and pay attention to the man who is speaking to you right now? Stop looking at the chat, stop panicking about other things, and focus on my words. I am the one addressing you right now, not anybody else. This time tomorrow, this chat's going to forget you exist. The only way they're not going to forget you exist is if you make a further fool of yourself here. When I'm addressing you and I'm speaking to you, it is not to harm you, it is not to hurt you, it is not to insult you, it is not to mock you, it is not to degrade you. It is to try to get something through your thick skull so you will learn from this. Because one day you're going to pull a stunt like this with somebody who does not have the moral values I do. Do you know what my moral values are without me telling you?
What?
My question is one understanding, because if I don't tell you, you don't know, which means I could be a nefarious individual who could just be dicking with you. I could be somebody who could find your information to further dick with you, and you couldn't even tell because you are so hung up and being angry because I'm saying things you don't like. Here's the question, though. Is what I'm saying not true?
Is this a question?
Yes.
Could you repeat it, please, so that I can answer?
Is anything I'm saying to you inaccurate, untruthful?
I do not know.
Answer's no.
Because I don't think you know me at all, but right now I feel like you're talking to me like I'm a bad person.
No, I'm not talking to you like you're a bad person. You've never heard me speak to bad people. You want to know what I say to bad people? I don't have to yell, but I can tell you what I say to bad people.
Well, I've heard you comment on Mr. Enter's review on Turning Red, so I think I have a pretty good idea.
You have no clue, because Mr. Enter I just make fun of. You want to know how I talked about a bad person? You want to know how I talked to a terrible individual? Really want to know?
I'd rather not.
I'm going to tell you simply because you need to understand. I tell them to find the nearest rope and nice sturdy beam. I tell them to go find all the ingredients underneath the kitchen sink and to down it. I tell them to go find a knife and find out how deep they can plunge it into their neck or stomach, because evil people are a different breed. You are simply misguided and stuck in the fog of childhood. You're not an evil person. You're just not used to having somebody be this direct with you, are you? I'm not Anthony. I'm not Solar Flare. I'm not Kichi. I'm not Night Tie-Dye. I'm not even Misanthropony. I am me, and I will speak to you in this manner because it is direct. I asked you. You get out much because it's clear to me you don't, and you clearly need to. You're almost 30 years old. Don't you think it's time to grow up?
If only I could.
You can. You've chosen not to. The question is why? Thumping your mouse or keyboard does not answer my question.
Well, I don't know. Maybe there's still a pandemic going on. I want to do things. I want to get out, and recently I have been studying history on World War II.
Pandemic does not stop you from growing up. Pandemic does not stop you from experiencing life as a whole, especially considering we're 2 years past it now. Studying history is fine. Absolutely fine. You're not interacting with much in the real world, are you? You're primarily sitting at your computer, don't you? I think that silence is very telling, don't you? Opal, you okay over there, kiddo?
That sounds like shit.
There's a lot of background noise from you, Opal. There you go. All right, so.
Done, finally.
Hopefully. Look, I disagree with Xanthropony about not getting it from the Bible, because you should get it from the Bible, because you get into a long tirade about objective versus subjective morality, and I will make literally everybody in this call angry if I do. Not just because it'll be annoying, but because I'm going to piss people off by telling them, hey, you're wrong and you're not going to like it. More importantly...
Sorry to interrupt. May I say something?
I suppose.
It's not objective versus subjective morality that I was talking about. It's opinions that I was talking about.
I'm talking about what Miss Anthropony said to you about where you get your values from, your values being your morals. If you were paying attention, you would have picked that up. I know you're talking about opinions on media being subjective versus objective. There is no such thing as objective for that viewpoint in any way, shape, or form. There are specific standards that we can give people, but those are still subjective standards. I am well aware. I am not media illiterate. The point is, Miss Anthropony has never once told somebody they can't have an opinion. The worst he's done is told them their opinion is retarded. And people can have retarded opinions. Does not stop them. Doesn't show up at their house and break their fingers and break their computer. He doesn't duct tape them to the end of a train track and tell them, haha, you like Rian Johnson's Star Wars. You will perish this day. He insults them and goes about his business. So explain to me why you're so hung up on that.
Because I thought he was better than that.
Better than that. Do you think this is a moral failing? Why? Because some people might get their feelings hurt?
Well, yes, but honestly, I wanted to reconcile with, so we can move past this. I realize that this is not something that I can change. I realize that we're always going to have our differences. And I realize that it was not my place to judge. I should not have interfered because there's one Bible verse that I failed to take into account, and that is judge not, lest ye be judged.
It's the verse. It's the verse.
Well, I don't know what verse it is specifically. Like I said, I do not.
But I said finish the verse. It's judge not lest ye be judged. Because what measure you apply to him will be applied to you. That verse's context is if you are going to judge, do so biblically and do not be a hypocrite. That is the context of that verse. Like I said, I know that book. Because it is the foundation of who I am. You can judge misanthropony. Lord knows I have. When flat out you're doing some nonsense, you need to sit down and shut your mouth. I've torn into him in ways that you couldn't even imagine. Here's the truth of the matter, Jordan. If you're a Christian, you're going to offend people. You're going to upset people. You are going to make their entire lives look like an absolute joke sometimes. Jesus did. You think the Pharisees hated him? It was bigger than them because he was buffer than them? Maybe. But mostly because he was right, and they couldn't stand it. The Christian's about discernment, about when to properly apply it. You have taken ought, Chris, over something so minute, tiny, and minor, in the vein of wanting to preserve the sanctity of fandom. Here's the problem. You're not going to like hearing it, but I'm going to tell you. You don't worship God, you worship fandoms. That's what you're taking offense over. On my unabated opinion, you need to repent.
I never had anything against you, and I never wanted it to spiral out of control to this magnitude. And I know you have some insecurities about being in here, and I don't want you to feel discouraged about being in here because that's not what I wanted. It wasn't my intent. I just wanted you to get a better understanding from a third party about how to have a better perspective on these things.
You need to get a real job and go live in the real world.
Yeah, Lio, I do have a part-time job at Target. I was just there today, and I feel like you're acting like you know me. But here's the thing. Have you ever seen at 1 minute of the 28 years of my life? Do you?
Sir, currently I've seen 47 minutes of it.
Okay, I did set the bar too low, but...
Yeah, you did. Way too low. But more importantly, I know exactly what type of person you are because I've dealt with people just like you multiple times. And what I'm seeing now is the same thing I've seen multiple times. You're angry because I'm saying things you don't like, and instead of heeding what I'm telling you, instead of taking it at face value, you want to kick against the pricks, Saul. Catch that reference?
Yes.
Good. I don't need to sit here and know your entire autobiography. I don't need to sit here and figure out your lineage like you're from the tribe of David. All I need to know is these are the things that have upset you. I've seen what your values are. I've seen what you respond to. I've seen how you respond to these things. And it's very clear to me that you are not used to somebody being stern to you because you have not been submitted to reality all that much. Here's what I'm guessing. This is, in fact, a guess. I am guessing that you go work part-time at Target, and when you come home, you come immediately to your computer, and you stay on here until you can't stay on anymore, and then you go to bed. And on your computer, you talk to people about the cartoons and shows you like, you watch the cartoons and shows you like, you delve into fantasy, you delve into fiction, you do more typecasts about how the Avengers would use their Mighty Morphin powers and all this other stuff, because I have looked at your channel. And then you repeat it over and over again, and it upsets you when people in your safe fandom spaces might make things a little testy for others. I don't have to be a fly on your wall to know you. Because I don't think you really realize how patient I actually am being with you right now, because most of the people here are probably expecting me to tear your throat out at some point here, and if you keep getting snippy with me, I might oblige. I don't think you could handle that, to be completely honest with you. Now, Jordan, you are 28 years old. It is high time you stop getting wrapped around the axle, specifically about fandom stuff that is not actually harming any people other than the occasional hurt feelings. You work in retail, you should be used to that. You need to go out there and you need to get real world hobbies. You need to go out and socialize with other people that are not surrounded around whatever fiction of the week and flavor of the month it is. And you need to learn to have better hobbies than getting offended because some other guy, who also should work more, of course, as everyone should, at touching grass, insults a bunch of goons for having an opinion he doesn't like. I don't care. I woefully do not care. They insult people for being stupid. They insult me because they get mad at me. I don't care. They don't live rent-free in my head. This has lived rent-free in yours. And the entire scenario of you being possibly embarrassed has lived rent-free in your head for 6 years now. Between those 6 years where you've been freaking out about this stuff and being publicly embarrassed, I got married, I got a house, I got a career, and I have 4 kids. What have you done?
I've graduated college. I've gotten a dog. I have started painting Warhammer miniatures. I have began to delve into World War II. I actually do have a life. Thank you very much.
You live with your parents at the age of 28. Is this a life to you? Sometimes
Did you really have to bring that up?
Yes, I did, because you're 28 years old. I'm going to keep hammering that into your head. And again, still being polite. I can get mean. But if you keep getting snippy with me, I'm going to lose what little patience I have left at this point, because I frankly do not
How do you
care.
think I feel right now?
Oh, should I care now about your feelings? Should I care now about your woeful bales? Is that what I'm here for? It is not my fault that you are 28 years old, and the closest thing you've gotten to the touch of a woman is by putting your hand against some cartoon character's hoof on screen.
You know, there is something that I learned from a Nuremberg trial movie.
Go for
that apparently evil is the absence of empathy.
I have plenty of empathy, buddy. That's why I'm here. Woefully crying because you got embarrassed in a couple of videos because you didn't know what the word no meant. Don't talk to me about empathy. Don't talk to me about doing things that are worth it. I was sitting there trying to help literal children who didn't have anyone to defend them. You were getting offended. You ever come at me with that type of nonsense, boy, I will slap the sound out of your name. I'm telling you, the reality of how your life has turned out by your own volition is not the same as me not having empathy. In fact, if I hated you, if I wanted terrible things to happen to you, I'd say nothing and let you continue along the self-destructive path you have taken by your own choice. The Bible talks about, again, how a fool scorns correction. Wise man takes joy in it. You're mad because what I'm telling you is the truth and you can't stand it. Not because I'm wrong.
Well, in some instances, in some parts, you are.
One.
And let me just state this very clear. I only want to reconcile with Map. Okay?
I did not ask. Mouth. I asked you a question. What am I wrong on?
You think that I am a loser. You think that all I do.
I think you're a loser.
I'm not finished.
I don't think you're a loser. I think you're misguided, and you're trying to paint yourself as a victim now because you can't stand what I'm telling you. Are you a winner? Painting Warhammer miniatures and reading up on World War II make you a winner. I have been polite. I have been courteous. I have been biblically proper with you. Your response to each of it was to get angrier and angrier because the truth is, I do sound a lot like your dad.
You don't know my dad.
I know enough to know what triggers you. But as you never said, I'm wrong. Because when I first asked, you said, why are we getting personal? I don't know everything about your life, but boy, I can read you. A lifetime of doing very little but learning how to fight and survive will teach you how to read people real quickly. Not my equal. Don't get to LARP like you are. You had half a brain, instead of this undeserved sense of ego, you would take in what I am telling you, and you would learn from it, and you would go improve your life, because there's nothing I've said here that is going to be harmful to you if you take it as an adult would. Instead, you're getting caught up in your own undeserved sense of ego with the nothing you've accomplished in your life, and gotten mad. Now you're crying. I am genuinely sorry that nobody has loved you enough to tell you these things. I really am. And that's not an insult, by the way. I do genuinely mean that. Because you do deserve better. But somebody's got to, son. Well, you were lucky that you came in later and you didn't hear him try to talk to us about the moral values of My Little Pony.
Oh, he's back again.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, Jordan. So you know what? No, I'm going to have Miss Anthropony talk to you.
Look, I know you've heard a lot of harsh things throughout this whole call, but it's true. You have to try and absorb the advice that has been given to you throughout this call, or you're going to end up in a bad place. Take it from me, please. Because I did really a really fucked up thing at the beginning of the year, and if I kept doing that, I don't know where I would be right now, but it would definitely be a horrible place.
Again, I'm not even here to hurt you. If I wanted to.
Well,
You'd be in a lot
you
worse
did.
shape. Oh, okay. Do you want me to tell you? Oh, I have not hurt you. I've injured your pride. You know what I'd do if I actually wanted to hurt you? Do you have any clue?
Go ahead and say it. I'll mute you.
Jordan, do not fight back. Just sit down and listen.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Since you clearly have not ran into anybody actually nefarious somehow, let me explain to you how I'd hurt you if I wanted to. You have enough of your information out there. I could find you. I could find your parents. I could find the people you love, and I could give them all sorts of unholy grief. I could call your workplace. It wouldn't be hard to figure out which target you work at, because there's only a few within a specific target radius that you could walk or drive to reasonably. It could ruin your life. Actually ruin your life. Like, that's why I asked you, do you actually know the moral values I have? Before I told you they come from the Bible? Because if you didn't, you could have been running your cock holster to somebody who could genuinely do damage to you, and you were too stupid to recognize it. You are not prepared for the type of torment an immoral person could give someone like you. I mean, you literally put your birthday on your DeviantArt. Are you kidding me? You're not me. You're not prepared for that. You didn't even think about any of this, did you? Matter of fact, I could find your old screen name. It's Fictionary Man 03895. You have left puzzle pieces of who you are literally everywhere on the internet because you could not think possibly that you acting like an absolute goon is going to ever cause you any actual pain. And you thought the worst you happened was not Miss Anthropony, but freaking FNGR putting out a video insulting you. You thought that was the worst of it.
No.
Clearly did, because that's what you were worried about. You're worried about somebody putting out this information and embarrassing you further. A Little Pony and Pokemon fan fiction. Second chance, huh?
Will you stop going through my information?
Have I driven the point home yet? I mean, I haven't. I'll stop.
That's not information. That's just something you did as a hobby.
You put this out here. You did this. I didn't make this. Didn't write this Pokemon fan fiction. Oh, I know why you got so mad when I mentioned it.
Look, I get you're trying to help me, but honestly, But personally, I think you could have been a little more polite.
Like, son, you're sitting here trying to spout Bible at people while you have an actual smut request written on this fanfiction forum from 2013. Samuel just wanted a second chance at life, no matter what he did for his job. He always seemed to screw it up, and recently, he failed as a security guard to prevent a new transformation serum from being stolen. This is a latex fetish fanfiction.
Okay, may I leave, please? Because I am getting embarrassed here, because this context is really... I feel like a laughing stock right here, because everyone seems to be making fun of me. Because I was really...
trying to drive something through to your head, and you're more worried about being a laughingstock than you are the direction of your life. Here, question, do you know anybody in this call personally other than maybe Miss Anthropone and Leah? Do you know any of these people personally?
No.
Why do you care? In the name of God, literally the name of God, do you care about any people? Do you know Heaton? Do you know Gazian? Do you know Father DeVille? How about Fairweather, Busy Robot Hands, I Am a Liar, Mystical Fur Fag, Missy Drip, Old Drunkle, Opal, Queen Seraphina, Spar Danger, Spyro, Vix Rabbit, Water to Rio 13, Zelotok? You don't know any of these people. You don't even know me. Do you care? I'm trying to give you some genuine life advice on how to not dick up in the future, and your response is to get angry because I am embarrassing you? I ain't embarrassed you yet, but I could.
Zaid, are you still on the call?
Yes, I am.
Alright.
Did you want me to say anything?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, the rage that Jordan showed you, was this recently, or did it happen years ago?
It was something that happened recently. We recently had an argument, and I was like, okay, if you're gonna act like this, I'm not gonna keep you company. And I kinda just got annoyed with him, and I thought, yeah, I needed some time away from him, so I thought it would be best to just block him. And, a couple of months later, he tried to get to me through Leah. He wanted to apologize, and there was a part of I really did want to try and reconcile with him, but I do not appreciate it how he was constantly going after Leah to get to me through her, because it is adding to her stress. And that is becoming a problem.
So Jordan, it sounds to me like you're still a piece of shit. Why are you behaving that way?
Well, let me explain that I was sensitive to Leah because, I mean, well,
Sounds to me like you're sensitive to her because she's a soft, sweet girl who doesn't know how to tell you no. Which is scumbag behavior, first and foremost. Just a little Snapple fact there, real quick. I'm sure that what you're saying right now is not making Pool Guy a happy man. And that's not a wise thing to have with Pool Guy. But that's just a guess. Pool Guy will give his own value, I'm sure.
You're pretty spot on, Lyle.
All right, do you have anything else you want to say to this guy?
Jordan. I don't appreciate it when my friends are disrespected. Lyle Convoy volunteers a lot of his own time and a part of his soul every time he attempts to help somebody. He was invited in here to act as a bit of a mediator, a little bit of common ground based on both of your Christian backgrounds. And he tells me that you've shown him nothing but disrespect and scorn.
well, normally I wouldn't be that way unless I felt that I was being attacked. Or,
Look,
okay, I know that's an exaggeration, but...
Fuck your feelings. You don't come in here with scumbag shitbird behavior and talk down to the people who are trying to help you. Fuck you. I don't appreciate my friends being disrespected. I'm not going to tolerate for that from you.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize to me, apologize to Lyle.
Not actually sorry, are you, Jordan?
Yes, I am.
Then apologize to Lyle.
I'm sorry, Lio.
Accept your apology. Is the Bible
wonderful.
instructs me? The Bible instructs
Beautiful.
me. The Bible instructs me to forgive those that have trespassed against me, and I do to you. Now, here's where things get a little rough because see, Sarah isn't a Christian, and Sarah has words that she wants to say to you.
Oh, absolutely, but it's a very, very important question. So, how would you rate your autism out of 10?
I disavow this question.
It's a very important question.
That is an important question. I do want to just ask real quick. Hi, Jordan. I'm Coyote. What the hell's going on here? Because I just got here, so if you want to just like give me a little bit of a spark notes, that'd be great.
Honestly, I just wanted to reconcile with Miss Anthroponi, but I want to apologize to him for how I behaved, and clearly I just wanted to talk with him to reconcile with him, but he suggested getting in this call, which I did not want to do, and I felt very uncomfortable with, and it just escalated into this.
Jordan, I'm not your fucking therapist. I'm not here to reconcile your feelings. I just wanted to know why you're sitting in this call. Well, okay, so what exactly did you do to Miss Anthroponi to feel like you needed to apologize? That's, I guess, a better question.
Well, I wasn't very patient with him. I was disrespectful to him, and I lashed out at him. I lost my temper with him, and I just...
Hold on, Jordan, you're not understanding the question. See, those are all actions. Those are all things you did during the situation. I want to know what the situation itself was. Can you tell me that, please, Jordan? Okay, so either you don't know what the situation is, which I think is a lie, or you just don't want to tell me.
I'll tell you what it is.
I would like that very much, please.
Okay, so Jordan winds up in here because Miss Anthroponi invited him here to listen to me, because this boy apparently has a 6-year track history of not knowing what no means. And these two had a blow up at one point, and Miss Anthroponi essentially cut him off and told him, do not contact me and do not contact Leah, who is artistic passion in this call. And Scooter here, because Leah is a soft, very nice young lady, decided to take advantage of that weakness and go through Leah again to talk to Miss Anthroponi. And now we are here after an hour and 41 minutes of me trying to impart some wisdom on this doofus. He has responded in impotent rage, ego, and attempted chest beating to me of all people in here.
Oh, I'm sure that worked out real well.
Yeah, I especially loved when he yelled at Opal when Opal didn't do anything to him. That was a fantastic moment. Totally didn't make me feel...
And I'm sorry about that.
No, hold on, shut up. Did you actually yell at Opal?
I didn't mean to.
You didn't mean to, or you're sorry that you did it? Like, I'm sorry, I'm confused here. Did you just, like, trip, fall, and start screaming at somebody? Like, what happened there?
You're responsible for your own actions. If you yelled at Opal, it's clearly because you intended to.
Also, you never apologized to her either, so that's fantastic. Apologize to me, but not to her. Isn't that interesting?
Well, I'm sorry, Opal, okay? I just hate being reminded of my mistakes, okay? Please?
Quiet.
Can I just leave because I am just not...
No, you're
Jordan, you have a United States Marine speaking to you very calmly. I recommend that you reflect on that and use your brain.
If you're going to apologize to Opal, get some God-blessed sincerity in your voice and apologize to her like you mean it. Take a
I
deep
can't do
breath.
this. I
Oh,
feel
you can't
humiliated
do it again.
again.
Jordan, you have left this call 3 times, and every single time you have just bounced back. So please, stop doing that. Just sit tight and listen to people. Please.
So, let me redress things. Jordan, unmute. Jordan, I'm not a man who's fond of repeating himself. Unmute.
Wasn't a request, Jordan.
Jordan, can you hear me?
Yes, I do have ears.
Do you really think it's smart to take that tone with me right now?
No.
I did not ask for a Chris Chen stress sigh. You're going to pay very close attention to me, and you are going to abide by what I'm about to tell you. You're going to leave Chris alone, and you're going to leave Leah alone. And when I mean leave alone, I mean you don't know them. Ever. You're not going to bring them up. You're not going to talk about them. You're not going to talk to them. You're not going to message them. You're not going to have conversations. Because they won't set boundaries for some reason and stick to it. And I care about them, so I'm going to. You are going to take your sad, pathetic, sad sack nonsense life, and you are going to keep it far away from them. Because they don't deserve your nonsense. They don't deserve your chastisement. They don't deserve you coming in and throwing baby rage fits because Miss Anthropony's too mean about how he talks about people about freaking Star Wars.
Before he goes, may I offer a piece of legitimate advice? Even though it goes against the rest of this call, because advice to you has been useless up to this point, I would like to offer you one final piece that will help you. Are you willing to listen?
Yes, before you do, I just want to say I'm sorry to everyone
I don't
for my behavior,
I don't
because
believe you, and I don't care. Shut up.
Here's what I'm going to offer you, Jordan. You can be surprised what you can get away with if you just keep your mouth shut. You have an opportunity to shut up and go away. You don't deserve it. You certainly haven't earned it, but that offer is on the table for you right now. You've been told what you need to do. Stay away from Zaid, stay away from Leia, and quit bringing this nonsense up. If you do that, there's a very good chance nobody outside this call is going to know what happened here tonight. If you don't abide by that, I guarantee you, Lio is a man of his word. And he's very good at what he does. Do you understand?
yes, but actually no, I don't understand, because let me ask for clarification. Does that mean that I can't be friends with them anymore?
Correct. Because you can't even respect basic boundaries they set in front of you.
Especially because you weren't really much of a friend to begin with. You're kind of a leech.
Kind of.
So if they're not willing to cut you out, we're basically just going to tell you, no, you're not going to do that anymore. Otherwise, it's a consequence.
Well, why don't we ask Zaid, are you okay with this?
Well, honestly, no.
Hold on.
I don't want to give up on Jordan because we've been friends for a long time and he's done nice stuff for me. He was one of the people who participated in giving that birthday video to my grandmother before she passed. I just want him to understand the severity of his actions and how much stress it's been causing to Leah, and I do not appreciate it.
Chris, he's not going to learn unless you set hard boundaries and stick to them, because he's going to repeat the same actions. He's been doing this for 6 years. I know you appreciate what he's done for you. I'm not going to downplay that, and I'm not going to say it's wrong. But at the same time, you've got to set boundaries too, and you're failing to do that.
Not only
You're
that,
going to keep doing this.
Miss Anthro, I got to tell you something right now. You've been making, like, as much as a lot of people in the server might rip on you, as much as I might rip on you sometimes too, you've been making good progress, like forward progress, throughout since the beginning of the year in January when all that shit went down.
Yep.
The reality is, part of that forward progress is recognizing people who are essentially not only not making progress, but are detrimental to your own progress and well-being as a person. Jordan is one such person, and I highly recommend cutting him out. I can't force you to, because I'm not your fucking parent, I'm not your fucking guardian, I'm not your fucking parole officer. But for your own well-being, I suggest you cut him out. Because not only will you not progress further, this is actually going to hinder your progression as an individual and as an adult. Because this person's not going anywhere. He's just floating through life like a lump of crap.
Alright. Jordan, I am giving you one last chance to prove that you learned anything from this call. If you go to Leah about any of this garbage even one more time, I am cutting you off.
Okay, I promise.
That ain't worth much.
A day later, breaks it.
Alright, well, we'll hold you to it. You're dismissed.
Yeah, your promise is at a fucking $1.50. You'll get me a cup of coffee, maybe.
Can I say?
No.
Oh.